I'm wondering if with this presentation, if there's a way to create something that at least symbolically or visually and physically brings people on this journey to the idea that one of the moments of hope is that we can be in contact again, have that most human of human experiences. Because I think, quite frankly, right now, to see an embrace on something that's made in September is almost a revolutionary act. And so one of the things I'm trying to think about practically is how do we do that safely? Do I have 2 company members, and is it possible for me to work with University of Minnesota experts and specialists to get the appropriate testing so that we can actually do this in a way that doesn't endanger them?
How can we figure out ways to let you guys make art in a safe way, so that it really, really needs to happen? And I think, as Carl and I have been talking, that the University of Minnesota is in a really unique position to help make that happen. And you've got such an incredible, amazing director in Carl, who's thinking so coolly outside of the box, that I think we can do some really interesting stuff together.
Right now we're looking at is this idea of a period of self-quarantining right before an intensive, and then a testing right before that intensive. Then the intensive would happen between October, in the week leading up to September 13th, sorry. And but then we would be tested on the Friday before the shoot day, just to make sure that everything was in good order. And then we would have one more day of rehearsal on a Saturday, and then we'd be into the shoot.
Quarantine from the Italian 40 days. No one's looking at doing a 40-day thing here, so it's almost the wrong term to use. So I think like social isolation, or maybe like being smart, like super smart and super careful, might be even a better way of like phrasing it, so that you're I mean, let's face it, you can't go to social gatherings. That's probably the single best thing to say. Like, you just, for that 5-7 days, you just can't get together with groups of people. You can't go to a bar. You can't do things. You can't don't go to Lake Minnetonka to a flotilla of speedboats. I mean, it's just like anything that seems like, if it strikes you like, ooh, that seems kind of like a risky thing to do, you can't do that. It's, close proximity, long period of time, no one wearing masks. I mean, it just sort of intuitively makes sense, like how people are getting this, for the most part.
Would it be worth then, if we did do a test also on Tuesday, to wait until we got those results? So we've had 2 days together in the studio working, and we just still haven't done the physical contact part, because there are a lot of things that we want to do without physical contact. And then after that test, then we would still have 2 to 3 days.
In some ways, I like the arc of that, because it just gets us back together, finding our connection as a community, and in some ways also has this sense of falling towards touch. So we've done, like the first 2.5 days of intensive, we're about to start getting into touch and sharing weight and things like that. What do you see that protocol as? Like, walk us through it.
So it's a pretty simple protocol. I think it's just like mask off, wash your hands, and dance.
So we're in the intensive period, and you're still in this mindfulness around self-quarantining. We're looking at these layers of testing, which sounds like we might even look now at 3 layers of it, but at least 2. And this idea of working on non-contact material in the first couple days, and then moving towards the contact material. When we go to the shoot itself, the big variable is now we're bringing in a camera crew. That camera crew needs to be thinking about self-quarantining as they enter the time. Everything that John has talked about, nothing changes, except now every time we film, there aren't masks on unless masks are being asked for. But if you're not in the shoot, you're masked up. If you're not in the shoot, you make sure before you enter a shoot that you're washing your hands. John, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Really try something that is distinctly new, I think, in many of the TED worlds. So we're making a TED film, and that's exciting.
All right, how did it feel to see the actual dancers touching, John?
Oh, it's so great. I'm looking at people outside too, looking at like, what is going on? Like, why are these people like in such close proximity without masks on? It's like, we know something that we don't know. No, it's really great. It's wonderful to see this. To see what our process has allowed us to do. I mean, to see a group of 10 people catching one person falling out of a space, you know, without masks and gloves and everything, it really gets at what we're trying to find. Oh, they look so happy. I mean, it's like I haven't seen like this sort of happiness and smiles and engagement. And it just like makes me so sad that those. Yeah, and it was so amazing on Thursday when we first started touching. There were literally 3 or 4 people just spontaneously burst into tears, and it was, you know, it was just, but it was a moment that just this emotional pop that just changed everything.
So imagine if theater companies and dance companies and orchestras, at least the smaller ensembles, could start to figure out a way of doing this. It's huge, and we need this. I mean, we as non-artists need you to be, you know, making your art again and getting on stage and sharing it with us on social media and other venues.